Joe Biden is getting more unhinged by the day. In addition to his word salad, stumbles and forgetfulness, the president is now displaying signs of aggression, leading many around him to be very concerned. Sky News All-Stars James Morrow, Caleb Bond and James McPherson take a look at Joe Biden's newest symptom and how it's affected his presidential campaign. Joe Biden lost his temper at a social media influencer during a White House event that was intended to rally support for the president. Instead, Joe Biden had a meltdown and threatened a TikToker, garnering publicity for all the wrong reasons, explains Sky News All-Star James Morrow.
Now, overnight, new footage has emerged of the president losing it at a recent White House event to court support from social media influencers. Let's see how that went for him.
And I know you're a typical press guy. You're grabbing me in front of this all of a sudden. I trust you as far as I throw your phone. I have a good arm, man. I'm sure you can. I can throw it a long way. But my point is this.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a good arm there, man, and he don't trust you until you can throw your phone. I don't know. I mean, honestly, and he's not afraid to use that good arm, I suppose.
And the exchange didn't end there. Joe Biden's aides were so concerned that the situation would escalate, they were forced to step in.
Here's the rest of the exchange, which saw aides have to swoop in and break up the confrontation, I don't know, before Biden went all corn pop.
I have made very clear to the Israelis what they have to do in the near term. If they don't, what's going to happen?
So what's going to happen? Is the U.S. going to cut off funding?
I came because usually you tell me I have a nice suit and you didn't comment on my suit today, so I feel a little offended.
No. Thank you. Sit back, sir, please. Thank you.
I guess the president had to go bang his razor blade in a rusty barrel or something out the back and get a length of chain.
Joe Biden also had another bizarre encounter with the press this week when he seemed to shout at them in gibberish.
Are you worried about the war? Are you worried about the war?
Latest polls reveal American voters are realizing their president is a walking disaster, with many who supported him in 2020 now turning their backs on him in 2024.
I think the way that effort to court young influencers isn't going too great either. In a more broad sense, because according to the Washington Post, quote, the Gaza war, lack of progress on climate change, and a potential TikTok ban are spawning anti-Biden content even among former supporters. But if that performance at the G7 is in any indication, bullshit TikTokers are the least of Biden's problems. If only he could remember what those problems were. I don't know.
The White House is in damage control, with Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre now flipping the narrative, claiming the vision of Biden's numerous gaffes are all deep fakes, explains Sky News All-Star James McPherson and Caleb Bond.
The White House has come out in defence of Joe Biden, insisting the president's multiple gaffes and blunders are fake news.
It tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. Instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos.
Well, I suppose if anyone is an expert on fake news, it's the Biden White House. But if Biden's blunders are all fake news, gee, there's been a lot of fake news recently.
I'll never forget. Well, I won't go into that. Anyway, I just think that Florida Small Business Winner Award winner.
Caleb, it's all just fake news. But of course, they do say denial is the first stage of grief. Is that what's happening to the mainstream media in the States?
It's not just a river in Egypt, is it? And it's amazing to see the Biden camp now adopting the term fake news, because of course fake news was popularised by Donald Trump, and at the time all the Democrats and all the anti-Trumpers were like, oh, you know, when he says fake news, that really just means news he doesn't like. So why don't we just turn that back on the Democrats and say, well, if you're saying this is fake news, let's live by your standards. It must just be news you don't like, because we can all see that Biden ain't all there. Trying to claim that's fake news.
Well, the irony is that the White House spokesperson was saying that these videos are deep fakes. Well, that's fake news because they're actual real videos.
And it's not only Gen Z TikTokers who are abandoning Biden. The historic Democrat base of blacks and Hispanics are also turning against him in record numbers, preferring to embrace Donald Trump, according to Sky News All-Star Rita Panahi.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day, and so I was interested in this analysis from CNN on the historic levels of support the Republicans are getting from black folk under Trump. They are perplexed, the folk at CNN, but they acknowledge this is a seismic shift.
And more than that, it's not just that Joe Biden is losing ground, it's that Donald Trump is gaining ground. You go from 7%, single digits at this point in 2020, to now 21%. And again, John, I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet in the polling. If anything, right now we're careening towards a historic performance for Republican presidential candidate, the likes of which we have not seen in 6 decades. Look at black voters under the age of 50. Holy cow, folks. Holy cow. Look at this. Joe Biden was up by 80 points among this group back at this point in 2020. Look at where that margin has careened down towards. It's now just, get this, 37 points. That lead has dropped by more than half, Mr. Berman. I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless, because you always look at history and you go, okay, this is a historic moment. If this polling is anywhere near correct, we are looking at a historic moment right now where black voters under the age of 50, which have historically been such a big part of the Democratic coalition, are leaving it in droves.
Newsweek senior editor-at-large Josh Hammer agrees, saying minority groups just aren't satisfied with how the country has been run under Joe Biden.
So black voters are peeling away from Joe Biden for the same reason that many underrepresented minorities, Hispanic voters among them, are peeling away, which is that they don't like the way that the country is being governed right now. And if these numbers are real, and as Harry said right there on CNN, we have every indication to believe that the shift actually is real, especially for young black men. Young black men are now supporting Trump 25, sometimes even 30% in polls. That could easily make or break the election when it comes to states like Michigan, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, all of which have sizable black populations there.
Sky News All-Star Joe Siracusa says this year's election will have low voter turnout because Joe Biden has alienated the youth, and that will favor Donald Trump.
President Trump, a lot of the Biden people are going to stay away because he's alienated a lot of the youth. Some of the black and the brown vote, and a lot of the Islamic votes and things like that. I think it would favor Trump because his base is particularly energized. I mean, it's pretty hard to get up, very early on that first Tuesday in November and get out the vote for Joe Biden. As you can see from your little package there, he had to be guided off the stage.
Well, by Obama.
By Obama. So, in many ways, it's a very sad ending.
And Donald Trump hasn't let Biden's gaffes go to waste, jumping on the frail leader at every opportunity.
And lead him off the stage as though he were a child. I have to tell you, Obama could have handled that differently. He could have done it a little bit softer. He could have done it like, let's go, come. He didn't have to grab him and pull him off the stage, but he looked good, and I guess that was his primary purpose. He wanted to look good. He could have done a better job. In fact, the Biden people were very upset about that whole incident, but yet to be discussed. But Crooked Joe and his handlers are insisting he's sharper than ever, and they say the videos of Crooked Joe shuffling around are clean fakes. You know what a clean fake is? They're deceptively edited. They say they're deceptively edited. All of the mistakes that he's made every day. He can't go anywhere without a mistake. Now, if I'm perfect, they say he made a mistake. He did perfect. And I don't say clean fakes, although they do. They do that. They do that. They're the fake news. Look how many you have out there. They're all over the place.